Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to BookTastic. We are delighted to welcome so many of you to our first ever schools program. It's a real shame that we're not coming to you in person, but we're already working really hard on our 2022 program, and fingers crossed, we're going to be able to get together and celebrate books and reading next year. But one of the wonderful opportunities that has sprung up from this very strange year is that we've been able to welcome schools from all across the UK to take part, and even beyond, which is something that we plan to continue next year with a hybrid event. So hello to everybody out there who is in the UK and everybody who is beyond the UK. So while Bedford schools will be able to come along and see authors and illustrators at next year's event in the live theatre, we will also be live streaming the sessions so that pupils can continue to enjoy the events across the country and indeed the world. We're very excited about that. Now, we couldn't be kicking off the weekend with a more exciting event. Some of you may know this author from her best-selling series, Amelia Fang. Some of you will have devoured the evil Emperor Penguin books. But today, the one, the only, the amazing Laura Ellen Anderson is going to introduce you to her latest incredible book, and that is Rainbow Grey. Hello, Laura. How are you today?
Hello, thank you for having me. I am very, very well, and as you can see, I'm wearing the sky. So I'm very, very excited to be here.
But there's a very important first question. What's the weather like where you are?
Do you know what? It's actually full of cloud creatures in the sky at the moment, and there's a little bit of blue sky, and somewhere out there is the big glowing sunflower that is a little bit kind of covered up by the cloud creatures at the moment. But otherwise, relatively nice.
Sounds great. Well, I don't think people want to hear from me, so I will let them hear from you. Over to you, Laura.
Thank you so much, Kiara, and I want to say a massive thank you to Rachel and Paul, who are the masterminds of the BookTastic Festival. And yes, a big thank you to you for watching. This is going to be a really, really fun session, I hope. And before we get going, just a little reminder that you will need some paper, a piece of A4 paper or 2 pieces, and a pencil, and possibly a pen for some outline. And we're going to be doing a bit of a draw along together, and then I'll be creating some characters later on using some very, very fun pouches mixed full of random words. So first of all, yes, I am Laura Ellen Anderson, and I am the illustrator and author of the Amelia Fan Series and Evil Emperor Penguin, some picture books called I Don't Want Curly Hair and I Don't Want to Be Small, and the most recent publication is Rainbow Grey. So yes, I'll be talking all about Rainbow Grey today, and kind of my inspiration, how I came up with the idea, and kind of sharing a little insight into kind of building your own characters. So yes, we are going to have lots of fun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop over to a little handy PowerPoint that I have made, and don't worry, when I say PowerPoint, I don't just mean loads and loads of lists of writing. I'm going to be showing you lots and lots of pictures, but I want to show you big on the screen. So I'm going to share that right now. And first of all, with my little introduction. So hello, everyone. So this is a little bit about me. As you can see, I was clearly having photographs taken on very sunny days because I've got my trendy old sunglasses on here. And I thought I'd give you a few little facts about myself just to introduce myself to those who may not know me. So yes, I absolutely adore Lindt chocolate. I'm a little bit addicted to it. Those big fat Lindt bunnies, I love them. I once met Gaston from Beauty and the Beast and got his autograph. That was great fun, and he did have biceps to spare. I once saw the Aurora Borealis, and that was the most magical experience. And a little secret, there will be some Aurora Borealis in Rainbow Grey book 2. I still have one baby tooth, so my canine up here is a little teeny weeny fang instead of a big vampire fang. Our peanut butter on toast is my favourite food. I am actually growing a little oak tree outside, and I would love a pet tortoise. So there's a few facts about me before we get started, but I want to introduce you to my world, my characters, and hopefully inspire you to come up perhaps with your own characters and stories. So you probably may or may have not seen the Amelia Fan Series. There are 7 books in the series, 8 if you count the World Book Day book, and they follow the story of Amelia and her friends in the world of Nocturnia, and just the weird and wonderful adventures they get up to. But what inspires me to write my books? Well, I am hugely inspired, not only by other books. Some of my favourites are the Worst Witch series by Jill Murphy, who illustrated and wrote the Worst Witch. And what I love about Mildred Hubble is she isn't your she isn't like Hermione Granger. She finds it harder to kind of do well at her spells, and things go wrong all the time. But she tries so hard. She never gives up. And she always gets there in the end and ends up, saving the day. And so I really admire that. And I admire characters that have lots of layers and strengths and flaws. We're going to be talking more about that. So I adore film and TV, in particular animation. So as you can see, some of my biggest inspirations for Amelia Fan that I've included here is The Nights of the Nightmare Before Christmas, Casper the Friendly Ghost, and we have Hocus Pocus. I mean, I love Hocus Pocus. I love that they're a little bit scary, a bit like Roald Dahl's The Witches. I always describe that as deliciously scary, and Quentin Blake's illustrations just bring the characters to life. But it's so intriguing, and your curiosity gets the better of you. You just want to keep reading. And the same with the films. I love that they're quirky, gothic, a little bit scary, but you really root for the characters. But with Rainbow Grey, this was more of not necessarily a superhero story, but if we're going to kind of compare it to anything, perhaps we can call it a kind of superhero story. But I was particularly inspired by things like Powerpuff Girls, that really kind of feisty character. I wanted to create a main character who you wanted to really be like, really root for, but who's also kind and passionate and generous and loyal to her friends. I absolutely adore the likes of Gravity Falls, and one of my most favourites is the Avengers. Now, I know lots of people are big fans of the Avengers, and I think what makes it so successful is the fact that they aren't just pow, 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 we are good at everything superheroes. They do have weaknesses, and that's what makes them so relatable and so human, because we all have strengths and weaknesses. That is what makes us human, what makes us all different, and what makes life interesting. And by working on those weaknesses and learning from them, that really helps you to grow as a human, as a character. So if you are kind of injecting all of that knowledge into your character that you are creating and developing, then you can create a character that is relatable to the reader, someone that they can empathize with and really kind of want to do well. So that's just a little kind of snippet of what inspires me. When you are creating characters and writing stories, always draw from your inspirations and remember to write something that you love. That's really important. Don't write what you think you should be writing. Write what you love, because then that will show through your writing. So with Rainbow Grey, how did it all begin? So this here is my very first sketch, or should I say kind of digital painting of a rainbow character. And as you can see, she's got a little cloud cat. He didn't really change very much. And I created this drawing possibly around 10 years ago. So just a little bit of advice for you. Any idea you have, I recommend carrying like a little notebook, or even you can write anywhere an idea you have. It might be the seed of an idea, maybe a fully fledged idea, whatever it is, always write it down, because you never know when that idea may blossom, and perhaps it will be your next book that you get published, as with Rainbow Grey. So here is this character. She looks quite young in this, is more like a picture book character. And I started to come up with an idea for this kind of weather world and created these kind of weather characters. And so I kind of personified weather. So, took the rain and the clouds and turned it into kind of more kind of human looking characters. And so we've got rainbow and snow, we've got wind and cloud and sun. But even though I created these around 10 years ago, you can see elements which have made their way into Rainbow Grey that is published today. So, for example, if you have a look at the second character, who is meant to be the cloud character, he has got like what looks like a kind of horn in his belt. And that is actually something that would be used as an instrument for wind magic in the current Rainbow Grey. So ideas that you've had from many years ago can weave their way into ideas that you have now. And that is the most amazing thing about creating and coming up with stories. So again, we have a few more kind of early character development here. I just love adding cute faces to things as well. So you might notice in Evil Emperor Penguin, Eugene or Amelia Fang, Squashy or Rainbow Grey, Nim the Cloud Cat, they all have little dot eyes and a kind of little sideways capital D mouth, like yay! And they are always a super cute character, and I just love popping in a super cute character into my books. It's kind of like a little stamp now. And if you do read Rainbow Grey and you have read Amelia Fang, you might spot some little Amelia Fang Easter eggs throughout the Rainbow Grey book, but I'll leave that to you to find. So 10 years later, I decided to just do a bit of doodling on a Saturday morning, and I drew this rainbow character again. As you can see, she still looks a little bit different to the final character, but essentially it's still her. She's got her rainbow hair, and my editor, the lovely Ali Dougal at the time, she got in contact, and I was already working on Amelia Fan, and she said, who's this character here? I want to know more about her. And I started to think, oh, you know, I knew a bit about her, that she lived in the sky and she could create rainbows, and there was this whole kind of world where characters created magical weather. But I hadn't fully developed the idea. But then lovely Ali saying to me, tell me more. Suddenly my brain started erupting with ideas. And I was like, well, maybe she does this, maybe she's like this, she has these friends. And you start to build the world, build the characters and the setting in your head. And it's the best feeling ever. So I started to develop the idea, and then we eventually got to the Rainbow Grey that we see today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the characters. So if you haven't read the book, this is a little introduction. And at the front of all of my books anyway, I like to have like a little kind of page spread where I kind of give a little lowdown of the characters so you can get to know them before you start reading. So here we have Ray Grey, and it's no secret that she starts off with short grey hair and ends up getting rainbow hair. So Ray Grey actually starts off with no weather magic at all, but that's fine. She's fine with that. She, instead of when all of her friends go to study their individual weather lessons in Sky Academy in the afternoon, she goes to the library and does lots of research, and she loves reading, and she loves reading about her ultimate hero, the Earth explorer, LeBlaze Delight, who you can see on the other side. And LeBlaze Delight is a sun weatherlin, and she has her trusty pigeon sidekick, Kulala. See, you might notice something about Kulala. He's got a little monocle and a top hat. Again, there always seems to be a character with a monocle and a top hat, and possibly a curly moustache in all of my books. Again, another one to look out for. Good old Nim the Cloud Cat. So Nim is Ray's pride and joy. They are not connected by weather magic because she doesn't have any at the beginning. But Nim was found in the forest of Fahrenheit all on his own. He couldn't be a proper cloud because he explodes without warning. So poof, he'll explode, and then he rearranges himself in all weird and wonderful ways where his eyes are stuck to his bottom and his feet are on his head. But Ray loves him no matter how many pieces he's in. And Nim is actually short for Nimothy, not Nimbus. And then we have Snowdon, Everfreeze, and Droplet Dewbells, Ray's very best friends. Snowdon is a snow weatherlin, he's the cleverest kid in school, and Droplet Dewbells is exceedingly good at any kind of rainy sports, especially puddle porting. And then we have Hayes and Claudia Gray, Ray's mum and dad, and yes, her mum has got lots and lots of objects in her hair. I mean, who wouldn't want to keep all the things you need in her hair? And she's a brilliant cloud architect. And then her dad is a weather warrior, fighting rogues who create storms. And yes, he has got a flip-flop on his ear. And no, I'm not going to tell you why, because maybe you can read to find out. So, the weather magic. How did I come up with this weather magic? So, when I was creating this book, I thought, okay, I want to write a book with magic. I've always wanted to write a book involving magic, but there are so many books with magic, and I had to think of how to do it differently. So what I decided to do is think about each weather individually and kind of relate it to something that I associate with that magic. So obviously sun, sunflowers. And I thought, what if the sun is a great big glowing sunflower in the sky? And so the sun keepers, these very, very special, unique weatherlings, they keep the big sunflower growing. And every 11 years, the sunflower is changed for a new one. And that's when the big eclipse happens. And then we have wind magic, and different wind instruments are used to channel the wind magic, like flutes or horns or trumpets. Rain magic, I was inspired by rhythmic gymnastics. They have ethereal capes that they swish in certain directions to create the desired rainfall. Snow magic, they have beautiful embroidered snow gloves, and they draw snowflakes in the air, and depending on what they draw, any flicks and swirls and dashes will depend on the snow spell that they create. And then we have cloud magic. The cloud weatherlings have special curly cloud crooks, a bit like a shepherd's hook, to guide their cloud companions, and every cloud weatherling has a cloud companion or cloud creature. So perhaps something to think about is, what kind of cloud creature would you like? I think I would have a cloud cat because I adore cats. But yes, they have their cloud creature. And then thunder and lightning weatherlings, they always come in pairs as siblings, or just a pair. And here is an example, Frazzle and Funk. And they create the lightning magic with a special lightning stick, a bit like a conductor's baton. And then thunder magic comes from a big thunder drum, which can either be a big drum tied to your back or a little drum hat, donk, or even drum earrings. Boing. So that's how the general weather magic works. But then we have rainbow weather magic. And I thought to myself, okay, what kind of instrument can Ray have? So I started looking at kind of rainbows in mythology and history. And I found the Iris, the goddess of the rainbow and messenger of the gods. And in various kind of ancient artworks and on pots and things, I saw different versions of Iris and versions of this staff that she has. And so I decided to kind of combine all of those ideas together and create Ray's staff with the 2 circles and a little pair of wings on the circle. And that is how she channels her rainbow magic, which you can see here. So that's a little breakdown of how it all works. But I'm going to come away from the PowerPoint now, and we are going to draw Nim together. So I've got a handy little way of doing this with my kind of wibbly wobbly tech. So I am just going to now move my laptop to the side, and this is time to get your pen and paper, guys. And I'm going to go. And the reason I've got a little Nim there already is because sometimes the camera can go in and out of focus, and I needed to just tell my camera that you need to focus on this paper here. So what you're going to need first of all is a pencil. And what we're going to do together is create kind of a guideline to draw Nim the Cloud Cat. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by drawing a bean shape. So just like this, one big curvy bean. Okay, and it doesn't matter if your drawing goes a little bit wrong, or you know, if you make a mistake, because at the end of the day, you know, Nim goes a bit wrong sometimes. So I might go a bit blurry sometimes, but it will go back into focus. So we're going to draw one bean, and then we're going to draw 4 beans at the bottom, which is going to be Nim's legs. Okay, so I'll just give you a few seconds to do that. Okay, and then we're just going to add 2 little triangles at the top, like so. And then another bean on his bottom, which is going to be Nim's tail. Okay, so try to keep your line as light as you can. Again, it doesn't matter. If not, we're going to add 2 dot eyes for his face. And then for his little smile, it's basically a little W shape, like that. And then, of course, he's a cloud cat, so we're going to add some whiskers, although I'd be surprised if his whiskers stayed on. So if you wanted, you could draw his whiskers falling off or his ears falling off, whatever you want. So now we have the kind of guidelines for Nim the Cloud Cat. What we're going to do, either use your pencil and press a bit harder this time, or take a pen and we're going to now draw the outline on top to make him look like a cloud cat rather than a bean cat. So let's start off by outlining the ears like that. I'll just let you see. There we go. So make sure I move my paper. Oh, see, I'm looking at the screen backwards and I'm around the other side of the table. It's all very confusing. Right, and then we're just going to add some little details inside the ears. And now for the really fun part. So we're going to make him look like a cloud. So you can make him as lumpy and bumpy as you like. Again, it doesn't matter if it doesn't look quite right because he is a cloud. He's changing shape all the time. So what we're going to do though is we're going to overlap the first leg and then follow around the second. And then we're going to keep going across the belly, overlap that leg, but follow round the last, okay? And then we'll just go up to the tail, create a big floofy tail, and then we can outline the legs which are behind. So it makes him look three-dimensional. You can add some little lines for the paws, like so. And then we can outline the face. So one eye, two eye, his little mouth, and whiskers. And then what you can do is add a few poofy bits. That's cloud terminology for you, to make him look really cloudy. And then a few lines at the bottom just to give the impression of a shadow, so it looks like Nim is floating. And then you can even add some little clouds around him, just little poofs. So that's your Nim. I'm just going to leave him up for just maybe 10 more seconds. But you know, you can have lots of fun drawing Nim. It's amazing what you can do just with a really simple shape and eyes and a mouth. And in the front and back of Rainbow Grey, there's actually some end papers, which I can quickly show you, which show lots of different types of Nim in different positions. Okay, so I hope that you had fun drawing Nim there. I'm going to just move my laptop back and I'm going to show my face, hello. And now I'm just going to pop back to the PowerPoint for the last leg before I get creating. So back to the slideshow, play from current slide, not the beginning, as I always did earlier on. And here we see a few Nims here, so joyful, shocked, sad, angry. And I had a really interesting question about angry Nim, actually. Someone asked me, why doesn't he have any paws? I mean, one answer could be that they fell off, you know. But when I was drawing him angrily, I thought to myself, what do you do when you're angry? You kind of tense up and you kind of retract everything. So I kind of thought, you know, how would that look on a cloud character? And I thought, well, maybe everything goes in, really angry and tense. So it's thinking about those kind of things when you're creating your character. So a believable character has layers. And I always use an example from another character who we might know very well, Shrek. He gives a great piece of advice and he says, ogres are like onions. And Donkey's like, they stink. He's like, yes. Oh, they make you cry? No. Oh, you leave them out in the sun and they get all brown and start sprouting little white hairs? No, layers. Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it? We both have layers. But not just ogres. We have layers. So if you give your character lots of layers, they become more believable. You don't just want a bog standard two-dimensional character. Give them, as I said before, their strengths, their weaknesses, likes, dislikes, little quirks that is unique to that character. I always think about how to distinguish between each character, and they will all act differently to the same situation. So books, films, theatre, TV, any of that is a great way of putting yourself into another character's shoes and perhaps experiencing a character's life who you'd never dream of experiencing, and that is where empathy comes in. It's your way of, as I say, putting yourself into a character's shoes and being able to understand them, empathize with them, and really kind of seeing where they're coming from and why they are feeling a certain way. And perhaps I love to write villains that have layers. I never like to just do, you know, kind of evil villain, bam. Sometimes I do, but I like them to have reasons why they're acting a certain way. So I've got a little example here. It's a fun activity you can do in school or with friends or at home. It sounds really boring, room with a tin can and a piece of string. It is really boring, but you can have any setting. As soon as you put a character into that setting, you can bring it to life. So I once set an episode of Evil Emperor Penguin just in a lift, a broken down lift, because I really wanted to delve into the characters and their dialogue and how they reacted to each other and the situation. And because they were all different, they all acted differently. So a really, really simple example here. Imagine a character you're creating, how they would react to a tin can and a piece of string. So for example, Ray, she's very curious, she's very kind, she never gives up. She will see the can and probably think, oh, that must be one of the amazing human objects Dad brought home when he went on his weather warrior job. You know, she think, what should I do with it? Maybe I should make something out of it. She might tie the string around the outside of the tin, create a loop so that she can hang it, and pop perhaps you know, some nibbling nimbleweeds or giggling gillyweeds inside, and some funny weather plants. Or it might even be a little kind of honey basket for Nim to squish into. So she's creative as well. However, Droplet Jewbells would probably see the can and immediately kick it across the room. What do I know? What is that? She's quite feisty and always kind of looking out for friends in case there's any danger. But then when she could see that it's not going to cause any harm whatsoever, she might make a game out of it. So she kind of place the tin up on some kind of shelf, or get someone to hold it, and get the string, put a ball in the string, swing around and launch it and see if you could get the ball inside the can, because she's really, really sporty. Snowden never freeze. He would research every single part of the tin and the string that he could find out, right down to its atoms, find out where it was made, where it came from, in which year, and then he'd probably put it on the shelf and carry on researching it and creating pages and pages of files about the tin and the string. So there you go, a tin and a piece of string. You can get an idea for, you know, the personality of a character just by the way they react to something really quite mundane. So I'm going to create a new character. I have about maybe 14 minutes now to do this, so I better get going. So a really, really fun way to come up with a character from scratch, and this is a little challenge I'm going to give to you as well. Put random words into a pouch. So first of all, let's start off with our character's name. So I put lots of random names into two pouches, a first name and a potential second name. So we don't know what our character is going to be. So again, you can create another pouch which is full of lots of different creatures. Or we might decide that it's just going to be another weatherling or just a human or whatever. And then I've got another pouch which is full of personality traits. So wise, angry, polite, optimistic. And then if there's time, we'll see how we're going. I've got a pouch of things, and what I'm going to create with the things is maybe a weird and wonderful sidekick for the character. We've had a cardboard box and a bubble in previous events. So let's see. First of all, actually no, before I open the pouches, because I'm going to do that on the other screen, I'm going to just show you some book covers, because what we're going to do, I'm going to put the character onto a book cover and just give you a really rough idea of how to create a striking book cover. And as you can see from the book covers on screen, each of them really stand out and they catch your eye. And what you've got to think about is a lot of books are bought online these days, so you want your book cover to stand out more than everyone else's. You want it to catch someone's eye and for them to click on it and to read more. Or you might be in a library, full to the brim of books. Which one do you choose? So you want your book cover to attract the attention of this potential reader. Maybe they're walking past the bookshop, and again, you want your book cover to invite them over and pick up the book and think, oh, I want to know more about this story. And it's important not to make them too detailed, because all the little details will get lost. And I'm going to go along with the idea of having the character's name as the title. So again, Kevin and the Biscuit Bandit, Mr. Penguin and the Catastrophic Cruise. We've got Vi Spy, Flember, Freddy versus School. So a lot of the names are included in the title, not always, but I'm going to just have our character's name as the title for today. So I'm going to come out of my PowerPoint now and go to my big face on screen so you can see me. Hello. And I'm going to start picking some words out of the pouch. So first of all, I've got the pouch of names. So let's find out. So this is something you can write down, lots of names with your friends, put them in a pouch. and it's like a bit of a game of consequences, really. You can have lots of fun. So I've got lots written. It's not fixed at all. There's lots and lots of names in here. I'm going to dig down so I don't get a similar one to a past event. Here we go. Okay, so I've got name 1, and I'm going to pick out from the second pouch now without bashing my hand against the table, which I just did, and it really hurt. And then we're going to get name 2 here. One thing you're doing if you're creating characters, try not to hurt yourself in the process. So, right, let's delve down. Here we go. I think I've got one here. Right, let's see what our character's name is. I mean, it could change. Ideas change all the time. I rewrote Rainbow Grey so many times before I came up with the final one. Okay, so we have the name Ada. So I'm just going to write that down on a piece of paper, Ada. Feel free if you want to write it down and create your own Ada character. But Ada's surname might determine a little bit more about Ada Flutterby. Okay, so Ada Flutterby. Now, we are going to pick out a creature, but it might be that we decide to make Ada some kind of bug character anyway, maybe a moth or a butterfly. But I'm going to pick out from the creature pouch just to get a little bit more about our character here. So let's dig in and get one from the bottom. There we are. Pouchy, pouchy, pouchy. Okay, what kind of creature is Ada going to be? And again, if we don't like it, we don't have to do it. Again, if I can't draw it, I don't have to do it. Aha. So let's see if I can open it. Okay, so Ada is apparently a gnome. So she could have a little hat and live in the garden. There we go. Let's see what Ada's like as a character. Again, it may develop and change. You can start off with the character being one way and they might end up completely different. So I'm going to pick out 2 for this one. So sweet, and so Ada's sweet, which kind of tells me that she's kind as well. Hopefully I won't pick out kind next and get something quite different. Oh, dramatic. That's quite fun. Sweet and dramatic. That reminds me of Tangine from Amelia Fang. He can be very sweet, but he's also very dramatic as well. So yeah, we'll go through those. Okay, and let's have one more. I'm going to pick out a thing, and this could be Ada Flutterby's sidekick or friend, or even her arch nemesis. We'll see. Again, these ideas can develop into whatever you like. Let's see. Oh, okay, so bin. It actually said bin. So Ada Flutterby has a friendly bin sidekick. That's just an idea. These ideas can literally come from anywhere. So, okay, let's see what we can do with these. Let's just break it down. So we've got Ada Flutterby, who is very sweet but dramatic. She is apparently a gnome. Do you know what? I'm going to pick out another creature. Maybe we can make her a hybrid from creature pouch 2. Maybe she's a mixture, a bit like Tangine being a vampire fairy. Oh, we have alien here. I think I prefer alien. I'm going to make Ada an alien. Ada the alien. Oh my gosh, here we go. Ada Flutterby, the alien. Maybe she does live in the garden though. We always assume aliens come from space, but maybe she's decided she landed in a garden coming from space and she really likes this garden. Okay, we're getting there. We're developing ideas. This is how the brain works. So again, I'm going to now move my laptop over and I'm going to move my camera. And I am now going to attempt to draw some kind of version of Ada for a book cover. Feel free if you want to draw your own version whilst I'm doing this. This is completely up. So I'm going to just draw a rough kind of blank book cover shape here. I'm just going to check that I'm still in focus and I've got it on the screen. There we go. Like so. Okay. Mine will be a lot messier than yours because I'm very, very strapped for time, but you can spend a lot more time and you can make yours in colour as well. So I'm just going to start off by creating a big, bold title for Ada. So I'm going to do like some kind of 3D writing. And for some reason, I imagine it being like polka dot. Maybe she's got polka dots all over her. Or maybe she's a little alien character who wears a polka dot coat. it's always worth thinking about those kind of really iconic costumes or traits to make your character recognizable. There's a really great game. If you recognize your character just by its silhouette, that's the sign of a really good character. So I'm just going to add some spots over here, like so. I might even just put some little planets around. You can have lots of fun with your book cover, and you might be lucky enough to perhaps get some kind of shiny foil on your cover. So I can imagine these little kind of planets and stars being shiny. So Ada, so maybe, do you know what? I might make her half kind of, she might have butterfly wings. She's an alien with butterfly wings, and she wants to live in the garden. But because she comes from space and she is an alien, all of the bugs and the creatures don't accept her at first. So, and she's very, you know, she's very dramatic about it all, but she's also very sweet and she just wants to be accepted. Perhaps that is Ada's story. So I think we can have kind of Flutterby in all this kind of almost curly writing here. Ada, Flutterby. We could even have some wings coming out, like the butterfly wings. Again, it's really fun to play with the kind of format of the cover and have fun with your title. Ada, Flutterby. Now, I'm not sure what the subtitle could be, because we could either just call it Ada Flutterby for book one, or we could call it Ada Butterfly and the something. So we might come up with something. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw maybe some, we can have some flowers coming in from the edge. Maybe Ada Flutterby ends up saving the bugs from a terrible fate. Perhaps there's a big bad, I don't know. I like spiders. I don't want to give them a bad name, but for the sake of this, let's just do some kind of scary spider. There we go. Coming in from the sides, it really draws your eye into the center. And now I'm going to attempt to draw Ada. So I'm going to give her one eye because she is an alien. But no, I'm going to give her 3 eyes, actually. There you go. You can have as many eyes as you want, to be honest with you. But I kind of associate a few eyes with a bit like the aliens from Toy Story. I think they have 3 eyes. There we go. And I might give her like a little straw hat. Because I think she loves gardening. She loves gardens. Oh yeah, I forgot about her bin character, didn't I? So we don't have to include that again. Maybe she, there you go, give her a smile. Maybe she lives in a little compost bin. So maybe that's where the bin can come in. There we go. And there's her little kind of antennae. It's coming together now. She's looking very sweet. But what we could do in the in between the kind of blades of grass, we could have some angry eyes looking at her. You think, oh, what's going on? Kind of lurking in the darkness. She's got to defeat the baddie bugs. So I'm going to give her her polka dot coat and kind of alien hands, like so. You want to give kind of good idea of like the character on the cover, but also leave enough for the reader to want to know more when they read the book. So as you can see from our initial kind of pieces of paper that we pulled out of the pouches, it's already kind of changing, but that's okay. And I'm going to give her some kind of Wellington boots. And some kind of splashes here. Maybe she's quite slimy. Maybe that's why they kind of don't like her around the garden, because she's always making it slimy. But perhaps it's the slime that traps the big baddie bug at the end. There you go. There we are. Okay. So, oh yes, and her butterfly wings, that gives her an advantage. She can fly. Add some motion lines. And then always remember to put your name, I'll just put mine there for now, somewhere on the cover, the author and illustrator, whether that's one person, two. There you go. We've got a little space for the buy one, get one half price sticker. There we are. Okay, so that's a really fast example of how to kind of create a character from scratch. We've got Ada Flutterby, this kind of alien character, lives in the garden, wants to be accepted, and ends up defeating the bad bug who's teasing all of the other bugs by using the power of flight and slime. So again, you can spend lots more time on yours and create your own characters. That's a really quick example. So I think now what I'm going to do is, hello, face the screen, and I've got time for some lovely questions, which the wonderful Kiara is going to read out for me. Hello. Oh.
A lot of fun. I'm looking forward to drawing Nim as soon as I can, and I have a moment.
Can't wait to see you.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. I love seeing how you did that, and so quickly as well. It's brilliant. The bean cat that turns into a cloud cat.
Yes, I mean, I love bean cats as well, but
yeah, no, absolutely. Who doesn't love a cat? There we go. So we've got some questions for you, and the first one is from Laura Percival, and she asks, when did you first start getting into books?
Whoa, thank you, Laura. Wow. So depends if you mean just in general or writing professionally, but basically I've been surrounded by books all of my life, and I started coming up with my own stories. I've got loads and loads of stories written from when I was docked. Basically, I remember getting home from school, the first thing I do was write and illustrate straight away. But I went to university to study illustration, and when I came out of university, I was very lucky to meet a lovely agent, and then I got my first illustration job, and that was to illustrate a version of Aladdin for the Oxford Reading Tree, which was really great fun.
Wonderful.
And it was such a great way into the industry. And then I started kind of illustrating a few other kind of books and picture books. I got my first picture book was with Kerry Burnell, Snowflakes. And then I started wanting to kind of write my own picture books, and that's when I started to write I Don't Want Curly Hair. And then I was illustrating fiction, slightly older books with lovely Chevelle Pounder, and it was then that really inspired me to kind of delve into my own fiction writing, because I was like, I love this world and I would love to kind of come up with my own as well. So that was kind of the kind of very summarized journey in. I could talk about it for hours, but then I kind of went on to do my own books. So, but I have, I'm very thankful and appreciative to all the lovely authors I've worked with in the past who really inspired me. So yeah. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you, Laura, and thank you, Laura, the other Laura, for asking. Now, if anybody else has any questions, we have a few already lined up, but if you do have a question, you can check out the little button that says live chat, and you can type in your question there, and we'll see how many we can ask Laura before we have to wrap up here. So next, what shall we ask you next? We've got one from Emily. Ooh, Emily seems to like unicorns a lot. She says, you draw unicorns a lot. Are they your favorite animal? And if so, why? And are they fun to draw?
Thank you, Emily. So I love unicorns. And yeah, I think I would go as far to say they are my favorite animal along with cats and dogs. And especially, I think unicorns are my favorite to draw. Now, funnily enough, illustrators hate drawing horses. I can't stand drawing because they have like a million elbows in all different directions and it's really hard. However, when you kind of start to stylize it, and for example, Keith the unicorn in Evil Emperor Penguin, I just kind of created these kind of wibbly wobbly legs and kind of did my own thing with it. So yes, unicorns are my favorite and they're really fun to draw. And sorry, what was there were 3 questions there, weren't there?
Oh, it was, hang on, let's go back. And are they fun to draw?
They are really fun to draw. When you kind of, get the hang of the whole kind of fact that it's a horse with a horn, they're really fun to draw. And then you can have lots of fun adding patterns and different colors and rainbows coming out of their bottoms. So yeah, they're really fun to draw. They're great. You
can't go wrong with that, can you? So we have another question, and that is, how are you so good at drawing? I agree with that question. How are you so good and so fast at drawing?
That's very, very kind. Who asked that question, sorry?
Oh, we got Paul, but I'm adding my own name to it as well.
Ah, well, thank you so much. I guess I've been drawing since I can remember. Whatever I could get my hands on to draw, whether it be a scrap bit of cardboard box, even a bit of tissue, whatever I could find, I would be drawing. I used to draw on a Magna Doodle when I was little. I don't know if they still exist, but I used to draw characters and stories and then like rub it out straight away and draw the next panel. But yeah, and obviously I went to university, but not everyone does go to university to study, and that's not the only way into illustration and books. Everyone has their different ways. I wanted to go to university, I loved it, and I learned some really valuable skills there. But luckily there's so much available online. So just practice, like with anything, with writing and drawing. The more you do it, the better you get. And, the more you read and kind of, research illustration and writing, the better you get. So yeah, it's just your passion, hard work and determination.
Very good. Thank you. Well, we've got Harrison who wants to know how many books you've published.
Oh my gosh.
It's quite a lot, isn't it?
Harrison. I got asked this question last time. I should have remembered the number and written it down. Lots. But if we're going to count the ones that are just completely illustrated and written, I guess we've got, okay, so let's do our maths here. We've got 8 Amelia Fangs, 3 picture books, that makes 11, plus, well, nearly 2 Rainbow Greys, so that's 13, and 4 Evil Emperor Penguins, so that's 17. So we are, and give or take 3, 4, 5 board books. So let's say 20 for now. So,
oh, that is a lot of books. Well done.
Fun, really fun. Yeah, thank you for getting my brain working maths this early in the morning.
Well, we've got a question from, who is it now? Oh, goodness, the questions are piling in. How are we going to get through all of these? So we've got from Quinton. He says, who is your favorite author, or who are your favorite authors?
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Quinton. Do you know what? I always go to Jill Murphy, because the Worst Witch books, I refer to them all the time, and they're the only set of books in my life that I've read over and over and over again. I read a book and then I'm happy to put it down, and I'm happy, I'm done with that book. But the Worst Witch books were like a comfort blanket for me. So whenever I was feeling a little bit poorly or a little bit scared as a child or whatever, I would always open the Worst Witch. And no matter how many versions are made on TV, I love them all, no matter how bad the effects are or whatever. And it inspired me so much when I was younger, because I loved Jacqueline Wilson, as I still do, that I created like a mashup story of the Worst Witch and Jacqueline Wilson's double act, because I loved them both so much. So yeah, I have Jill Murphy to thank for where I am today, really, because she really inspired me. And her illustrations are so beautiful as well. I loved them. So I dressed up as Mildred Hubble once. I think it was for Halloween, rather than, we didn't have as many World Book Day kind of dress ups when I was at school a long time ago. But I if I had to dress up for World Book Day now, I'd probably pick Mildred Hubble. So
wonderful. So we've got a great question here from Kate, which is, if you weren't into books, what would you be?
Oh, Kate, great. That's a brilliant
wow.
question.
That's an out of left field question.
Yeah. I'm always thinking of the things I could do. Whenever I get really tired of work, I'm like, I could be doing this. When I was a teenager, I went through a phase of wanting to be everything but an artist. I hadn't always known I was going to be an author either, but do you know what? I love baking. So something that involves baking, but I'm not very good at making stuff look good. I can make it taste good, but look, I'd never win Bake Off because it. But do you know what? I'd probably end up getting into film or something somehow. I always wanted to go into acting, and then realised I wasn't quite cut out for that. But like either film directing or script writing, I guess if that's there's a real passion there, which I still would love to explore, but there's not enough hours in the day.
Well, that leads into actually Kate's question, which is very, very smooth transition there, which is, will you make your books or any of your books into a TV show?
Thank you, Kate. I would. Do you know what? If I had the ability to do that, I would love to, and it's an absolute dream of mine to see my characters come to life. And all I'm going to say is you don't know what's around the corner, but these things can take a long time, and nothing's ever guaranteed. But there might be something in the pipeline.
Amazing. How exciting. Well, next we would like to know, now who was asking about Nim? Oh, Carolyn. Carolyn would like to know, can you write a book just about Nim?
Oh, Carolyn, do you know what? If ever there's the opportunity for a little Nim spin-off, or I don't know, a Nim care book, or how to care for clouds,
Yeah.
I would love that. I would love it. So I'll try and make it happen. Nim and Squashy. Definitely got hair.
You can sign me up for one of those if you do that. Definitely. I'll be first in line to buy it. That's a great question, Carolyn. Right. Ooh, okay. So Lois, I'm sorry if I've got your name wrong there, but is asking, do you ever draw anything else, not just illustrate books?
Ooh, so I like to just do my own drawings just for fun. If that's kind of what you mean. So I've got some lots of sketchbooks, and I'll just do random doodles in there. And I like to, I've got an iPad that I love to kind of do digital drawings on as well, and occasionally just come up with some characters just for fun. And my kind of on the side drawing hobby is creating fan art for like TV or films that I love. So live action. So or if I've read a book I really love and imagining what the character looks like, if it's not illustrated, I'll create fan art for that. And so on my website I've kind of got a load of fan art from all the different things that I've loved, including, I mean, you guys won't know, but things like Gilmore Girls and shows like that I've watched on TV. And so yeah, I've got lots and lots of fun. I've got some Hocus Pocus fan art as well, which I loved. But yeah, there's many more bits that I want to do when I've got some time. So yeah, fan art is definitely my kind of, it keeps me drawing as well, keeps me creating without having to like think of something completely myself. So it's a nice little hobby.
Great, that's wonderful. Thank you for that. So, what among the books that you have written or illustrated, what's your favorite book of your own?
Ooh, goodness me. I guess I have to say Rainbow Grow right now. No, I have to say, I think because of the amount of work that went into it last year, because I had a little rough patch writing the book where I just had a bit of creative block. Everyone goes through it at some point, and there was one point where I thought, I'm not going to have a book at all at this rate. And that's when I was like, maybe I will go into baking. But I think I kind of echoed my feelings in the character of Ray in the book, because kind of her motto is like, to never give up and just keep going. And that's kind of what I did last year. I was like, I will get this book. So to be able to hold it, I was like, oh my gosh. So I am incredibly proud that I was able to make the book happen and, create a book that I wanted to write about magic as well. But, if I had to pick one from Amelia Fang, because it has such a special place in my heart, and obviously I kind of scratched that kind of gothic itch there. Amelia Fang and the Unicorn Lords, funnily enough, I mean, it looks a bit like a chocolate bar with its shiny purple cover. I wouldn't recommend eating it. But that was really fun because I was kind of introducing the creatures from Glitteropolis alongside the creatures of the dark, which was so much fun. So yeah, it's really hard, but for now I'll say Rainbow Grey, especially because I've just almost finished writing book 2. I've been able to kind of grow the world, yay! So there's many more cloud creatures to come, which has been lots of
fun. That is the best news.
Cloud babies as well, so
we can't wait. This really neatly leads into Clara's question. Clara's from Moore Allerton, and she says, I'm your #1 fan, your top fan. Clara. And she says, is there going to be a series of Rainbow Grey? And I think the answer is...
Yeah, there are definitely, it's at the moment it's planned to be a trilogy. So 3 books. Who knows what will happen after? And I have got new ideas for a new series after that. But you kind of get signed up for a certain amount at first. And I kind of always imagined the main story kind of stretching over 3 books. But that's not to say you can't then go on to more after. You never know. So, but there are definitely 3, I can assure you.
Oh, well, that's wonderful news, I think, especially for Clara, but for all of us who are fans of Rainbow Grey, we've got at least another 2 to go before we have to start going, oh no, what next?
It's okay, guys.
Okay, Laura asks, what if Nim's angry version was a thundercloud?
Oh,
It feels
that
like a
would be,
spin-off series.
yeah, that would be interesting. And you know, I would think that there is a way that would happen if you were a kind of rogue storm character in the book, because the magic is very specific. So in order for him to be a thundercloud, something else would have to happen using rainbow weather magic. But I'll leave that to you to work out.
Excellent, excellent. We've got another question. I think it's from Kate, which says, oh no, sorry. So who is it? Sorry, a sub question from Paul, actually, who says, who is your favorite character from your favorite book?
So from Rainbow Grey, my favorite character I think is Droplet Jewbells, because she's really, really fun to write. She's so like feisty and cheeky and mischievous. And you know, I was always so scared, and I'm not saying break rules at all, but I think because I've never kind of been that kind of like slightly mischievous, cheeky kid, I like to put it into my characters, so it's my chance to be a bit naughty through. No, she's great though, and she's really, really loyal and like loves Ray to pieces, and she's really fun to draw because she's got kind of like spiky hair, and
she is excellent, isn't she?
Yeah, she just loves puddle porting as well, which was really fun to write. So I was like, okay, how does puddle porting work? What would it feel like? Hey, there she is.
There she. Oh, hang on.
Always late to school.
Okay, well, you got some lovely feedback here from Carolyn, who says, I'm so happy you answered my question. I'm crying. I'm so happy. Oh my God.
That's right. Are you crying raindrops?
I certainly hope so. Happy tears. One last question. Oh gosh, there's 2. Let's go for 2 last questions. First from Poppy, who is from Moore Allerton. She says, what is the best part of writing a book? That's a good question.
Thank you, Poppy. That's a really good question. Do you know what? The best part, I think, is so the very first part where you're developing the characters and coming up with these characters, and you have all these amazing ideas of what you're going to put into the final story. And then the hardest bit is kind of really structuring it and deciding, you know, beginning, middle, end, and making sure it flows and everything works. But then the other best part, which I'm about to approach in Rainbow Grey Book 2, is when you get to the last like 1 or 2 chapters and you're really happy with how it's gone, how everything's come together, and you think of a really good way to round it all up. And you know, I'm about to do that today, and it felt really good, and that is one of the best parts. And then you hand it in and think, oh no, I've got all of the edits to come now. But yeah, it's a really good part, because then you know you've got a few days just to breathe as well. No, but seriously, when the book comes together and suddenly you think, oh my gosh, something they said earlier on can come back around and help with the final, you know, epic bit at the end. When everything just slots together like a puzzle, it's the best feeling. Really, really satisfying. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. That is really satisfying. Okay, so we have the final question, and it's from Amelie. And she asks, if you didn't have Nim in your books, who else would you have?
Amelie, that's a great and very difficult question.
Yeah, that's hard. It's a tough crowd, eh?
So I guess it would be some other cute character. I'm trying to think. I don't think, because sometimes I go through character development ideas and there will be a character that never made the cut kind of thing. But Nim was there from the very beginning. But perhaps if I didn't have Nim, maybe it would be some kind of like cute kind of rainbow, you know, with eyes and a mouth, or some other cloud, I guess. But if it wasn't going to be a cloud creature, maybe a little rainbow, or some kind of like little plant with a face from the Forest of Fahrenheit. So something really cute and random. Initially, the other characters were going to have like kind of weather psychics as well. Like there was at one point where Snowden had a snow cow and Dropley had a raindrop. with a little face. But
Oh, I love that.
it was it was really fun developing the ideas, and I could go on for hours about all of the things that could have been. But yeah, maybe some kind of like little happy rainbow character, or kind of something like that. But that's a really good question. You got me thinking there. So
yeah, well, I think we should ask Amelie a question too. We should say to Amelie, I think, why don't you send us a picture of the character that you would put in if Nim wasn't there?
I'd love
in
to
fact,
see
why
that.
don't we extend that question to everybody and say, we haven't been able to see you, so why don't you send us your pictures of the characters that you would add in Laura Ellen Anderson's book?
That
And
would
who
be
knows?
amazing, because Booktastic and myself are on various social media, so you can get your grown-ups to send through.
Yeah, we would love that. And if you tag us, we would really love to see that, wouldn't we? In fact, see, I'm a photographer, among other things. So I would say to all of the schools out there and all the children, all the parents who are listening to us, I know there's some homeschoolers as well and people all over the world. If you've got a picture of yourselves today, or you have made a picture, perhaps you've drawn Nim, the Cloud Cat, or perhaps you just want to send us a little video message or a sound saying, thank you, Laura Ellen Anderson, thank you so much, or thank you, Booktastic. We would love to hear from you. We would absolutely love that. So please do send us your messages, your photos and your drawings, because we're a little sad we can't see you, aren't we, Laura? We were saying that, oh, look at that.
I almost forgot. So yes, Nim is wanting to see your pictures.
Oh my goodness, where did you get that Nim? That's amazing.
My lovely agent, Helen, made it for me. Very lucky. And
Oh,
I always
wow.
show him off in the event. It's very squishy as well. So I didn't get him out too early because I might fall asleep on him. So.
Brilliant. Okay, so Nim wants to see your pictures, your photos, your videos, your messages. Just make sure you have permission from whoever's in a video or in a photo to share them. But other than that, we would love to hear from you, because we missed seeing you. Normally at Booktastic, we'd be able to wave and sign books and do all of that kind of thing. So we want to hear from you. So for all of you who haven't read Rainbow Grey yet, if you want to buy the book, you can Book Festival's online website. And the reason we would ask you to do that is for two reasons. The first is you get a delicious discount, which is always good. The second is that if you buy it off the website, you support our festival and you help us to continue providing these great events for free. So if you haven't bought the book yet and you want to, or any other of the books that Laura has, then please do that way. The link to the bookshop has been sent to you and or sent out to your teachers, who I'm sure have sent it already to your parents. But in case you don't have it, you can always get it from us as well. So that concludes and wraps up with Laura. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's happening next. But first of all, I just wanted to say, Laura, thank you so much. I've had so much fun today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Kiara. You've been amazing, gathering all of the questions, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope that you all had fun. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been lots and lots of Cloud Cat fun, indeed.
It has, hasn't it? And a big thanks to the team behind the scenes. Of course, there's Rachel, who organizes BookFest, but she has a great team. And Paul has been behind the scenes trying to sort out your tech issues and everything. So thanks to them as well. Thank you. Thank you, Paul, the invisible Paul. And a huge thank you to all the schools and all the families who have participated. There's not really much point in us doing these things if you don't come along. So we really appreciate you. And we appreciate everybody who asked questions. We didn't quite get through every single question. We're very sorry if we missed your question out, but thank you so much for asking them. I'll make sure that Laura can see them before she goes, so she has a chance to think about those before the next event. So thank you all. Now, if you are joining us later today for Katie and Kevin Sang's this afternoon, who are doing their talk, we really look forward to seeing you there. And please do not forget that there is a whole week of events to look forward to. It's not only events that are accessible through your school, but you can just get in touch with Booktastic and you'll get a little link and you can join from your own home with your family. Maybe you've got younger or older siblings or mums and dads or parents and grandparents who would like to join you too. Please do join us. And I'm just going to quickly go through what we have coming up. So tomorrow we have the extraordinary and very full of energy Steve Cole at 10 o'clock. He's going to be talking to us about Welcome to Trashland. And I have no doubt his ukulele will be popping out for a little tune or two. If you haven't seen him before, there's a lot of boisterous activity going on in that, so I can recommend. At 11:30 tomorrow, we have, of course, the one and the only Alex Scheffler, the creator of the Gruffalo. He's going to be doing some reading, some drawing, and inspiration. So do join us for that if you'd like to. At 1 o'clock tomorrow, award-winning author Vashti Hardy will be talking about her latest book, Crowfall. And that was just released yesterday, so that's hot off the press. Exciting stuff. Then at 2:30 tomorrow, we're incredibly lucky to be joined by award-winning and best-selling author Patrice Lawrence. She's just won an MBE from the Queen's Birthday Honours. Ooh! So that's very exciting. So you get a chance to meet her and talk to her about her book. And then on Sunday, we start the day at 10. We have our one and only Bedfordian, internationally renowned author and illustrator, David Litchfield, who is joined by writer Alex Latimer. And Alex will be dialing in all the way from South Africa, down from the other end of the world. How exciting is that? And on Sunday at 11:30, we will be joined by Zanib Mian with the latest in her amazing series of Planet Omar books. This one is called Epic Hero Flop. At 1, we will be then joined by the incredible Garrett P. Jones with his fairy tale for the fearless Rapunzel, or Rapunzel, actually, not Rapunzel at all. And there's a clue there about what the character is like in the name, with a B, not a P. If this wasn't already more than anyone could possibly wish for, the festival draws to a close at 2:30 on Sunday with one of our country's best-known poets, Raymond Antrobus, who will be joined by illustrator Polly Dunbar to talk about their new book, Can Bears Ski? This is a beautiful tale about a little bear who discovers that he needs hearing aids and gives us all an insight into the world of a child who is hard of hearing. So, on that note, thank you, Laura. Thank you all for joining us. Send us your photos and your pictures. We'd love to see them, and we hope to see you all again soon. Take care then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.